your first or initial thoughts from, what the Chiefs did in the draft this year?
I really liked what they did in the draft this year. I think this is Brett Veach's best draft since he became the general manager for the Chiefs. I feel like he hit it at the top of the draft with some immediate contributors. I feel like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Willie Gay Jr. are both going to start from this team very early on. But I really like the Lucas Niang pick and the developmental corners, Bo Peep Keys and L'Jarius Sneed, as well as Mike Dana, rotational kind of defensive end. Those guys are future picks. So I really am happy with the way that they've addressed a lot of their needs, as well as addressing some of the immediate concerns.
We'll start in the early rounds. I think the first round had a lot of people, either they loved the pick or they hated the fact they took a running back in the first round. I'm in the camp that I think Edwards-Helaire could be a dynamic player, so I'm okay with taking him at 32. Could he have been there later? I don't know at that point. I mean, there were running backs going off the board pretty quickly in the second round. So, I mean, what do you take away from what the Chiefs did there in the first round?
We in the KC Draft Guide, the annual publication that we put out, rank fits for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire we put as a high fit, which is our highest possible criteria. If there was a higher possible criteria, we would have put Clyde Edwards-Helaire in it. He is just a perfect asset for Andy Reid, for Patrick Mahomes. He can catch the ball well. He's dynamic in between the tackles, and he makes guys miss in open fields. I think Chiefs fans are just a little concerned about drafting a running back so high because it is a position with a lot of turnover and a lot of volatility. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire doesn't have a lot of miles on his legs, and he's very good at extending and converting, picking up the chains on second and third down by making somebody miss that he's not supposed to in open field. I think that Chiefs fans are going to fall in love with him very quickly once they see him on the field. I think he's also a potential offensive rookie of the year candidate this year, and that's saying something in a very, very good rookie wide receiver class.
You talk about the wide receiver class, and I'll go there next, actually. I think I may have been someone that would have been surprised if the Chiefs would have taken a wide receiver at some point in the draft, but it didn't fall that way, and I think it actually turned out okay for them. Just what impressed you guys the most with the wide receiver class this year?
The depth of the wide receiver class was just incredible. The top end was very good. CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, those guys were very, very good wide receivers and would have gone at the top or near the top in pretty much any NFL draft that was out there. But it was the guys at the end of round one, the middle of round two, and even into round three that I think we're going to see a lot of starting caliber wide receivers, potentially even this year, come out of those rounds. And that's not typical. I mean, the Chiefs with Mecole Hardman did a good job of finding a role, getting him on the field. But I think this is a situation where a guy like Mecole Hardman may have gone in round 4 or later. Now, that's not a slight against Hardman. He's an excellent receiver, and the Chiefs had big plans for him. But the depth was just so large in this class that it was more of a pick your poison sort of situation, and teams were finding guys that fit them, knowing that they were going to be able to contribute immediately.
With the Chiefs' second pick, taking Willie Gay Jr., I know I was in the kind of the camp that saw some cornerbacks, still sitting there. Bryce Hall's one of them. His injury concerns were kind of lingering throughout. I really like the Willie Gay pick because he's so explosive. I mean, there's a lot of questions. I mean, Andy Reid talked about his off-the-field incidents and kind of everything with that. They addressed those. But I feel like there's a lot of questions on what he can do, what he'll bring, because he's just so fast and he can cover so much ground at the same time for being a linebacker.
Yeah, Willie Gay Jr. didn't play a ton due to suspensions. There was an academic scandal. He did punch his quarterback in the jaw before a bowl game. So there is some off-field stuff there. But everything we heard coming out of the combine is that teams felt like he interviewed very well, that he atoned for a lot of those character concerns there. So I think he kind of smoothed all that over. And then after that, he is a top-tier athlete at the linebacker position. And he's going to be able to put that on the field as the will linebacker, which the Chiefs didn't really have last year. They tried to trade for Darren Lee, and that didn't work out in the way that they'd hoped. So Willie Gay can step in that sort of role and help shore up some speed issues on the second level there with the Chiefs' slower linebacking core. So in that regard, I think Willie Gay getting on the field early is just going to help in a lot of the situations where we saw the Chiefs getting beat up by faster running backs, screen games, things like that, where the Chiefs linebackers just couldn't get out to the sidelines and defend some of these plays. Willie Gay Jr. will be able to do so.
And just kind of wrapping up with you, I don't want to take too much of your time. Just kind of looking at the other 4 picks, I guess, what's your favorite one of the third round, fourth, fifth, and the Chiefs coming back in late in the 7th round, kind of surprising everybody?
I think L'Jarius Sneed, the 4th round draft pick out of Louisiana Tech, has one of the highest ceilings of any cornerback in this class. He played safety in 2019 for Louisiana Tech because they needed safety help, and they wanted a guy with a little more speed to play back there. So he moved there. Now, he didn't look particularly great at safety, but in 2018, he actually looked very good at cornerback. He's very physical, he's very long, and he's lightning quick. Steve Spagnuolo likes guys with those sorts of attributes and ones with ball skills. L'Jarius Sneed had great ball skills. He has 3 pick sixes in his career in Louisiana Tech. So he's a guy that I think has a very high upside. I would not be surprised if somebody got nicked up or dinged up. If L'Jarius Sneed comes in and plays well, he might hold a job his rookie year. But this is certainly a guy in year 2, year 3 that you should be expecting to start on the outside as a cornerback for the Chiefs.
And before I let you go, the KC draft guide this year, fantastic. Again, I was reading through it multiple days because I'm at home, and what better time to do it actually right now? I'm just how did they go into the process of this year's draft for you guys to come up with this year's?
This is a situation where the 4 of us just have always loved covering the draft. We love looking at guys, trying to figure out where they fit in specific teams. And because we cover the Chiefs for Arrowhead Pride all year long, we're uniquely equipped to kind of see the types of players, the scheme and situations that they put these players in. So when we're evaluating draft class, it makes it easier for us to look at some of these players and say, that guy is a fit. That guy doesn't, sort of fit in with Steve Spagnuolo or what Andy Reid wants to do. And so we started collating all of this, watching tape. We go to the Senior Bowl every year to get interviews with players, ask them what it would be like to play with the Chiefs. And so we get some really good answers. Guys really love Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, Patrick Mahomes, obviously. So we got a lot of good answers, a lot of good feedback on this. And then we just put it all together and we rank these players up, put in their fits there. And it seems that people like it because they can follow along on draft day. They can know players that maybe do fit the Chiefs. And when they go off the board, that maybe that's something that's not good for the Chiefs, or maybe a low fit goes off the board. And that is a good thing for the Chiefs. So a lot of people have really kind of enjoyed being able to do all that. We do it every year. So be on the lookout for it next year too.